Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott. The program in which you're about to listen to is called Can We Talk? And I'm here with Charles Scott Jr.
Junior, how you guys doing today?
And today we're going to be talking about some of the things that have been happening within the past week,
Yes, a lot of things.
and also give you some tips as to ways that you can improve your credit and some of the things that are going on so that you can deal with the economy that we're dealing with right now.
Yes. We're approaching the holiday season. Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up, and we want to make sure everyone is okay. And we'll have some points and some tips for you.
Right now, we're finding that the real estate market is still moving briskly. And also, as you probably know, this program is being streamed and it goes all across the United States and
Yes.
across the world. So in some areas, it may have different consequences than in other areas.
Oh, yeah.
They say real estate is local.
Very
so
local.
one area that may have an abundance of properties, another area may not have an abundance of properties. And so some of the things and some of the tips and ideas that we give you are from our perspective of the east coast of the United States, and particularly in the Connecticut area.
Fairfield County.
Fairfield
See
County.
the city behind us. We got New York right next to us here in Connecticut. So the thing is, one thing unique thing about Connecticut, and it's another reason why we're called Tri-State, really, we're like right in the middle. We have New York right down below. We have Massachusetts above us. We have New Jersey, which is get a lot of influx of clients from there. So as you see, we're in a unique position here in Connecticut, and that's why we're always checking the ticker, looking for new properties.
Not only the ticker, but the economic. We got our pulse, our finger on the pulse.
Finger
of
on the pulse,
of
yes.
of the economic turntable as to what's going on out there.
Exactly.
And every day there's something new.
Every
You
day.
know, they always have what gets everybody's attention. Breaking news. When there's breaking
Yes.
news, then that means something's changing or something's happening that didn't happen before. And in our industry and what we're talking about a lot is real estate and the economy.
Yes.
There's breaking news almost every day.
Almost every day.
One of the things that happens is the economic forecasts come out. A lot of times you'll see like whether or not the job situation, are the jobs going up? Is it coming down? Gross domestic product. There's all of these little words that they use. Inflation. What's happening with inflation? All of these things affect. Interest rates affect what's going to happen with the economy. Now,
Exactly.
investors, they are really attuned to this. They wait every day. They got marked off on their calendar every event that's going to happen.
Exactly.
And what is it? One word can change.
One word can change the whole
real
thing.
estate market up or down.
Now, what we want to tell our viewers is also, people may say, Mr. Scott, I'm not an investor. I just want to buy a house. So when it comes to that, remember, don't let an interest rate scare you away. Like, what do we say? Interest rates used to be double digits back in the 80s. They may be approaching that now, but what your main thing is getting in the house. Once you're in the house, remember, you can always refinance at a lower rate as the lower rates come in, I would say, as the years go by.
Exactly. One of the sayings that all of the real estate agents and the mortgage people are using right now, they're saying, date the rape.
And marry the house.
And marry the house.
Yeah.
And then divorce the landlord.
Exactly.
That means go out with the rate of the interest rate, but don't keep it for a long time.
Exactly.
But marry the house. That
Marry
means
the house.
buy the house. Now you got it for
The house is in your name.
20 years, 30 years, but then get rid of the landlord.
That's the important part. Divorce the landlord, because people are
Divorce
going to
the
say,
landlord.
like we've heard before, people say, I have a great landlord, he treats me well. But yes, that's true. But remember, your landlord is paying a mortgage also. And he may get to a point where, he wants to sell the house, he wants to retire. And then your good landlord is gone. You have a new landlord. Guess what? Your new landlord is going to have a larger mortgage, and he needs help paying it. That's where you come in. He's going to increase the rent, maybe 20%, 30%. You won't do it all at once, or you may do it all at once. It depends on the situation. But the important thing is to marry the house, get in the house, and divorce the landlord.
Exactly. One of the things that we wanted to talk to you about today is that things are changing. We try to give you tips every week that can assist you out there with some of your planning and what's happening. We talked in the last couple of weeks. We talked about interest rates.
Yes.
We also talked about ways of increasing your credit score and how your credit score affects everything that you do.
Yes.
And also ways of improving your house to give you the best equity or the most money. Today we're going to tell you a couple of tips I don't know, you know, where you are or what part of the country you're in, but the holidays are coming.
Yes.
And when the holidays come, people start spending more so.
People start getting into debt, as we see.
Exactly. You know what? One of the things that we've talked about in the past is that the interest rates are going up because inflation is going up because people are spending a lot of money.
Yes.
And I tell people, I say, well, when the interest rates go up, one of the purposes and one of the things that the Federal Reserve will do is it will create unemployment. In other words,
Yes.
they purposely force people to get laid off. They
Yes.
force the companies to lay off the people.
What they do, they're making the money more expensive for these companies to borrow. And if the money is more expensive, then these companies have to make a decision either to lay off workers or either pivot and make a different direction.
Exactly. And what's happening is because the interest rates are continuing to go up and people are continuing to spend, the only way they feel as though that they can bring that down is to have less money circulating in the
Yes.
economy. And the way you have less money circulating in the economy is you have less people employed. Now, when things are going the other way around, it's the opposite. Then
Yes.
they try to employ as many people
Exactly.
as they
Isn't that
possibly
something?
can. But, you know, I was surprised. I went to a couple of the big box stores, which I won't name, and I was on my cell phone making some business calls, sitting in the parking lot, and I had to sit there for about a half an hour. So I'm on the phone and I'm looking at people running into the store like it's no tomorrow, people parking, people hollering, screaming, trying to get a parking space. Now, this is not, you know, right before the holiday.
Not Black Friday
This
or
is
anything
just,
like that.
You know, it was a Saturday, I'll give you that. But I was just amazed that the parking lot was full of cars,
Yes.
people with their kids running into the store. I'm like, hey, things are still going to be there. People fighting for parking spaces. And I said, so this is what they're talking about. People are spending like crazy. You know, I expect to pull up and there wouldn't be that many cars in the parking lot.
Not so much.
Things will be slowing down. But people are spending money and continuing to spend money.
Exactly. And the thing is, now they're spending money they don't have.
Exactly. Credit card debt is starting to surge.
Yes.
So now that's how this is what they use as an indicator
Yes.
of what's happening in the economy. They look at the amount of debt, they look at how much is on people's credit cards. Going back a couple of years ago, in the middle of COVID, people were saving money like crazy.
Yes.
The savings and the savings accounts were surging.
Credit debt was actually low as it was in years.
Credit debt was low. People weren't putting any money on their charge cards, and families were solid. Things were looking good.
Yes.
People were, you know, staying home. They were, you know, eating at home. They were shopping. You know.
If anything, it was the exact opposite of what we're seeing now. Restaurants couldn't get people to come out.
Right. Now you go to the restaurant. I went to a restaurant. Remember, I had to.
What did they tell you? How long was that wait when you called?
I called the restaurant just today. What was it?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
You wanted some breakfast.
I wanted breakfast, and I called ahead. And I said, "Oh, I don't feel like waiting. Let me call ahead." They said, we have to tell you right up front, it's an hour and a half wait. I said, hour and a half wait?
Would have been lunch by the time your breakfast is ready.
And I said, forget about that. I turned around and I went somewhere else.
Exactly.
And I said, wow, the economy is really going where people are spending money and doing all of these different things. Now, the other thing is I was in line yesterday and I was behind a lady, and the lady was talking to me, and she was talking about, you know, cooking dinner for her family and all that. And she said, you know, we're just going to go out to dinner because it's cheaper to go out to dinner than to cook.
Isn't that something?
The cost of eggs, the cost of eggs in some cases used to be $1.75, $2, now it's up to $8, and I'm like, wow.
Everything's especially in the grocery store.
Things are changing out there. So we want to warn you, don't get into that trap where you get out there and you start charging and mortgage in the future with your charge cards. Because on top of that, remember one of the things we've been talking about is interest rates, right?
Yes.
Now that's also tagged to what?
Yes.
Credit
cards.
Credit card interest rate, 20%.
I've seen some reports saying that some people are going up to 30 APR. Imagine that, 30% APR on one credit card.
On a credit card. That means if you borrow, let's say you charge $200, and you owe 30%, that's you owe $260.
Yes, exactly.
And don't miss a payment. Now your credit
Now
score
they get a
shoots
penalty.
down.
You get a penalty fee. How about this?
$50 penalty
They
fee.
charge you a fee for not paying them back, and also increase the interest rate. Oh my god! And probably reduce your credit line.
I mean, it's not really funny
But-
if you're on the receiving end of
Definitely
that.
not,
But we're trying to tell you, look out for that.
Yes.
In other words, if
Read the fine print before you do
right.
anything.
If you could do anything, put it on a debit card
Oh yes,
versus a credit card.
yes, definitely.
And limit yourself as to what you're going to spend. If you get paid, put $200 into your debit account, and then say that's it. It's like going to the casino. Set a limit for yourself and say
Yep.
that's all you're going to charge, or that's all you're going to debit. Because when you get a credit card, it's almost like you will start just spending,
a license to
spending.
spend. Also, I was going to say, be careful this season because they said the stores, I'm not going to name them, but these big box stores are going to be very, not predatory, but you're going to see a lot more what we call store cards. Like, you go in there, they say, get this, why pay now? You can pay later. Open up a store card with us and get 10% off. Not realizing a lot of the store cards have a lot higher APR than a major credit card. And you can't spend it anywhere else but the store. So at that point, they got you.
We're going to give you the inside tips as to some of the things that happen in the back room. How do they get the
Yes.
money out of your pocket? In some cases, like they have the teaser rate where they say, okay, if you go in here, we're going to give you an in-store credit card. You can spend $200, and the interest rate for that first $200 is only going to be 10%.
Or how about this, 0% APR?
0%.
Oh, the furniture stores love that one.
Now, what's the catch? You must pay your next 20 payments on time. If you miss one payment, it goes from 10% to 25%.
Yes.
And it's retroactive.
Right.
That means that all the times that you were getting zero interest, it goes back to the first day you got the card, and
Yes.
the 25% is put on everything you got.
Across
So
the board.
They make more money that way by teasing you and getting you into the storeroom and getting you in there to buy.
How about this technique? This is what they're going to ask you also. You should also be paperless. Why do you want to get mail on this? It's paperless. It goes in your email. Let's say it goes in your spam folder. You forgot you had your credit card payment due. Now you have to pay the retroactive payments.
That's right. That's another way. The other thing that I noticed is that I was watching last night, and they said that one of the things that they're doing is they're starting to charge people for returns.
Oh, yes.
And one of the advantages of online ordering is that you try something. If you didn't like it, you send it back to them, and they pay for you to send it back to them.
Exactly.
Now what the stores are doing, watch the fine print. Because if you send something back, you have to pay for it out of your pocket to return
Yes.
the item because of all the returns that they're getting. Because one of the things they said is that people are using their homes as dressing rooms.
Yes.
Before you go into a brick and mortar store, you see a pair of pants, you try
Try
3
them
or 4
on.
out, and you find the right one that fits you, and you put the rest back, and then you go and you buy that pair. Now,
Exactly.
what they're saying people are doing is they order 3 pair.
Right to their house.
The regular size, the large size, the small size, because different manufacturers have different sizes.
Exactly.
So now you get the 3 pairs of pants at your house, you try on the right one, and you send back the other 2 because you could just return it. Now they're saying, okay, you want to do that, you pay
the shipping.
You pay for the shipping and the restocking.
A restocking fee. Yeah,
the
they love that.
restocking fee. They might charge you a 10% restocking fee.
Now think about that. Imagine how many people are not going to return it because of that fee. Not only do you have to drive to the post office, they're paying the shipping. So these companies know what they're doing. They have to know they got to preserve their bottom line.
And they're making more money on you. So these are some of the things that we're telling you to watch out for. Read the fine print from all of these different things that they're
Yes.
doing. And a lot of them, they're sending out a lot of these credit cards. You have been pre-qualified to get a credit card.
Oh, yes.
So what's that mean? Pre-qualified doesn't mean you've been approved. Just
Nope.
it means send us all your information, and then we will determine whether or not you qualify.
Exactly.
So you fill out all your information, you put in your job, how much money you make, your date of birth, whether you own a home or not, all this information, then you send the information into them. And then they could say, well, you don't qualify.
Or how about this? They're going to take your information and sell it to the maybe
That's
what do you call a more riskier creditor and say, I'll take that. I'll give them credit.
Not only that, it says in the small print that by giving us this information, you agree to let us solicit this information
Yes.
to other people.
Exactly.
And today, what's happening in the world is information is worth money.
Yes.
People sell information for money.
But what I was going to say, not to interrupt you, but what do we tell our new homeowners? You're going to get a lot of mail. Once you move in the house, you're going to get an extreme amount of mail. If you feel lonely, buy a house. They're going to come after you. You're going to get letters from every company in the world.
Everybody wants
People want to
sell.
cut your grass, sell you insurance, and what so.
Whatever you want. They're going to tell you more about you than you know about yourself.
Exactly. But we always tell people, read the fine print on everything.
Especially these days, because what's happening is that the information is worth a lot of money.
Yes.
And a lot of times people think, well, okay, what's the information? I'm not buying anything. But in essence, you're giving up the right to that information, and that information can be sold. There's companies out
Yes.
here that will pay anything to know how many people on this street, what's the income bracket. We in the industry can buy lists. We can buy lists of different things that we want, people that we want to market to.
Yes.
We can put down the income, how much income we want the person to make. They even go as far as the education. They put the jobs, and they filter through all of their millions of bits of information, and they direct it right down to those individuals that you want to market to.
Yes.
Now, how do they get that information? Years ago, I used to tell people would say, well, how do they get my phone number? My phone number is unlisted. How do they know this about me? How do they know that about me? And back in the day, before they had all of these computers,
Algorithms
and, gizmos
and stuff.
and algorithms, I used to tell them, whenever you buy something from a store, you always say, register this device, register with us for the warranty.
Yep.
Now, believe it or not, the item is warranted whether you fill that piece of paper out or send it in. A warranty is a warranty. There's no requirement that you have to fill the piece of paper out just to validate the warranty. What they want is your information.
They want your information.
So now they get that information. Now they've got that information, and they can sell that information to another company and make
Exactly.
even more money on you.
But how about this? In this day and age, you may say, well, we're more hip now. When I go to a store and they ask for my phone number, you give them a wrong phone number. Don't give them the phone number at all. But what we learned earlier this year, with these smart TVs and the cable companies, they're selling your information. They're looking at the demographics, who's watching this channel, who's watching that. They can tell how much money you make through your smart TV and through your cable. Trust me, I've been told this. They can say how much you make with like an estimate of almost.
Exactly.
And what your credit may be also.
We have marketing companies that come and sit down with us, and they tell us, they say, okay, who is it that's going to be the customer that would buy your product? And they can tell us when those individuals watch TV,
What channels they watch.
what channels they watch, what commercials hold their interest,
Yep.
how long they'll watch a channel before they flip the button,
What time of day.
what time of day they watch the channel, whether it's women watching the channel, men watching the channel, based upon the content of the advertising that they put out there. And that's why they call them smart TVs.
If you're a homeowner or a renter, another thing they can tell.
They can do all of those different things just by analyzing the information that you put out there. The reason why we're telling you all of this is because you have to be very careful to realize that all of the things that you do and all of the things that you purchase are being tracked. It's all
Yes.
being tracked. And years ago they used to have the theories. Well, you buy something, they put a little
Chip in it?
chip in it and follow you around. They don't have to do that anymore.
Hey.
They got your cell phone.
I say they have the biggest chip in the world, your cell phone. That's the new chip.
They got your cell phone, so they can follow you all around. You know what used to amaze me and still amazes me? And for the audience out there, think of this one. You go into the grocery store to buy something, and you know, maybe you like a certain cookie or chocolate, and you say, I'm not going to buy that item today. And then you get there to the register, and the receipt comes out and says, oh, what about the cookie and the chocolate chip you usually
Oh, yeah, the
buy?
coupons.
We're going to give you another 20% off if you go back and get that item.
Exactly.
It's like the computer in the grocery store. That's why when they ask you, oh, don't you want to get a discount card with us? Don't you know, what's your telephone number?
They're tracking what you buy.
So by the time, before you even leave the grocery store, that computer has already figured out what you buy, what you normally buy, giving you 20 coupons for that particular item, and then here's the big catch. Here's the thing that gets me upset.
What's that?
You look at the coupon and they say, okay, you're getting 20% off on this cookies that you like. And you say, however, you can't buy them today. The coupon doesn't start until tomorrow or the next day. So you're like, oh man, I got to come back here. So they know that if they make it that day, you're going to turn right around, go pick those cookies up, and come through the register. If it's another day, they know, well, when you come back that next day, they're going to sell you 20 other things that you didn't.
But how about this? They tell you to come back the next day and it expires very soon. You got to use that coupon.
Right.
So let's say you go to the grocery store twice a month. The fact you want to use that coupon, you may make an extra trip. And you're not going to go to the grocery store for just one cookie. You're going to buy some more groceries. So that's their goal. They want you to spend more money. They want you to go over budget.
and it expires. So the reason why we're telling you all of this is because we're telling you how you can maximize the amount of your money. And even though these are small items that we're telling you about and how some of the things that are being done to track you, on a larger scale, all of this is being done also.
Yes.
A larger scale where you have to start economizing your money. And the only thing I can say, you know, I'm very positive about the future. Things are going to be great. But also, you have to be able to plan for your future and assist in everything becoming better. Don't let your guard down, because there's somebody that's going to be making money, and it should be you, or somebody's going to be saving money. We're just giving you tips on things that you should be aware of, and you say, don't be, don't be reactionary. Be
what they say, a prepper. Prepare for stuff. Exactly.
And sit down and say, and these are things that are out there that are happening real time. Companies pay professionals and they pay people to study this information. We're telling you what's happening out there and what's really happening as to some of the things that you can prepare to save money, whether it have to do with credit. We give you tips on credit, how to build up your credit. Credit is going to be key. Going forward, credit is going to be key.
Exactly.
Because companies are starting to clamp down on their requirements for credit.
The interest rates are increased. The money is no longer cheap or free for these big companies. So they're going to be less riskier themselves as far as what they do. So definitely, you want to make sure your credit's up, especially if you're going to be buying a property.
A property, saving money, whether you're renting right now, you're seeing a big change in renting. Yes. You're seeing a lot of change right now. We give you a sort of insight as what's happening out here in the economy. There's a lot of people that are starting to move in with people to the economy.
Seeing that a lot.
We're seeing that a lot. The trend is that families that were all being split apart are now starting to move in with each other. We talk about where someone buys a property. They buy a single-family house. Maybe it's a 4-bedroom house. We leave there's one family, and we come back, there's 3 families.
Very true.
All in that same house. You know, this morning we talked about there's 10 people living in the house. There's only supposed to be, 2?
You're right. Well, I will say, that's one thing that you have an advantage of being your own landlord, too. I mean, I'll say this, try doing that at your apartment, moving in everybody. That's not going to work.
Landlord's not going to like that.
They're not on the lease.
And this is becoming there's a lot of friction going on, too.
Yes.
Because the landlord is saying, okay, I thought I rented this apartment to just 3 people. Now I see 4 cars out there.
And a dog.
I see the dog. Where did the dog come from? And now you got 4 people in there, 5 people in there. You know, the woman had, brought her sister over, and her sister's got 2 kids. So now you got, and then her mother, who was only going to be visiting for a week, She's been there for like 6 months.
Exactly.
So now we got four more people in there that are not renting to. Now, people might say, the old adage used to be, I'm paying my rent. What's he care? Well, first of all, you got the liability.
Liability.
Somebody can fall. Somebody can get hurt. You got twice as many people
That are not on the lease.
that are not on the lease, can clog up the sink, the toilet, whatever it may be. There's constant use of water. The water bill is skyrocketing.
Exactly.
The sewer bill is skyrocketing. The wear and tear on the building is skyrocketing. And so all of these different things are affecting the landlord. So
Exactly.
now all of a sudden the landlord is getting hit with higher bills than he had anticipated based upon that rent.
Yes.
So the landlord's thinking, well, when it comes time to renew this lease, I'm not going to renew the lease, or I'm going to go up on the
I was
rent.
gonna say, or go up on the rent. That's the strategy we're seeing a lot of what landlords are doing. They're going up on the rent, and people are being forced to move because they can't pay the rent.
So you have all of these things that are happening. So we're only telling you this because this is what's happening.
Yes.
This isn't what we're telling you how things occur. We're telling you what you need to do to prepare for these things.
Exactly.
And one of the things you may want to do is if you're in a situation where you may be steered towards that, divert, go the other route. Start fixing your credit up.
Yes.
Prepare yourself to buy your own property.
Very true.
You've got to start somewhere. We're just giving you some tips as to how, maneuver away from those roadblocks.
Exactly. Become your own landlord. Own your own property. You can make your own rules.
Make your own rules. In other words, he who has the gold makes the rules, the golden rule.
Yep. He who has the deed.
He who has the deed to the house.
Exactly.
So we're here to give you some tips and
Yes.
some information so you can prepare for your future, so you can prepare so that things do not behold you and you say, why me?
Exactly.
When things go good, you say, yeah, why not me?
I was going to say that. Why not me? All right.
Why
So
not
remember
me?
to tune in every week because we want to keep this going. We're going to have this series of how people can be getting prepared for the holiday season. And until next time.
Until next time, but also check
Yes,
us
sir.
out on YouTube. Check out some of our past
To watch every episode.
episodes that we've been doing, and tell your friends.
Definitely.
Until next week, God bless.
Amen.